Welcome to VNA News Daily Bulletin, where we bring you the latest events of the day. Coming up next, let's go to our top stories. Party Central Committee convenes second plenum. President Trương Tấn Sang has a busy schedule during his visit to Tanzania. Prolonged drought makes pond tourist site barren. The second plenum of the 12th Party Central Committee opened in Hanoi on March 10th, focusing discussions on the working agenda of the committee during the tenure, the socio-economic development plan for the 2016 to 2020 period, and the nomination of candidates for senior managerial positions in state-run agencies.
In his opening remarks, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng said, following the 12th National Party Congress, the Politburo has promptly directed the completion of all Congress documents for public announcement. It is also working on a directive on the learning, dissemination and implementation of the 12th Congress resolution. The Politburo has approved its working agenda and that of the Party Central Committee's Secretariat, assigned tasks to members of the Politburo and the Secretariat, and rearranged personnel at several agencies of the Party Central Committee.
Với tinh thần tiếp tục đổi mới,
the working agenda for the whole tenure of the Party Central Committee should give priority to urgent issues and key tasks, including strengthening the party and improving the efficiency of the apparatus of the entire political system.
Phù hợp với chức năng, nhiệm vụ và thẩm quyền của Ban chấp hành Trung ương.
The party leader also named the fight against corruption, wastefulness and bureaucracy, the implementation of 3 strategic breakthroughs which are perfecting the socialist-oriented market economy institutions, improving human resources, and building a synchronous infrastructure system among the important content of the agenda. At this meeting, the Party Central Committee will decide nominees for the key positions of State President, Prime Minister, and National Assembly. The second plenum of the Party Central Committee will run until March 12.
President Trương Tấn Sang has a busy schedule during his visit to Tanzania. Let's join the president to see how his trip is progressing.
During his visit, President Sang also met with President of the Party of Revolution of Tanzania, Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete. The president said Vietnam always treasures the traditional friendship and mutually beneficial cooperation with African countries, including Tanzania, an important partner. Kikwete said Tanzania is keen on learning from Vietnam's development experience. He said he hopes more Vietnamese firms will be inspired by the successful joint venture of Viettel and invest in Tanzania. He stressed that increased collaboration between the two parties will be significant to intensify close ties between Tanzanian and Vietnamese governments. On the occasion, he informed that a delegation of the Party of Revolution of Tanzania, led by its Secretary General, will visit Vietnam this April. Earlier on March 9th, President Trương Tấn Sang met with the country's first Vice President and President of East Zanzibar Semi-Autonomous Region, Ali Mohammed Shein. Noting his admiration for Vietnam's economic achievements, the host said Tanzania and the semi-autonomous region in particular are keen to learn from the Southeast Asian countries' experience in rice cultivation, aquaculture, and seafood processing. Tanzania always welcomes foreign investors, including those from Vietnam, in these sectors. The president in reply said Vietnam is willing to cooperate with Zanzibar in areas of joint potential such as trade, investment, agriculture, and telecommunications. While touring the Benjamin Special Economic Zone on March 10th, President Sang hailed Tanzania's strategic policies on economic development. Treasuring the good sentiments of Tanzanian ministries and agencies towards Vietnam's military-run telecom group Viettel since its startup days in Africa, the president expressed his belief that the first project launched by Viettel will help lure more Vietnamese investors to the Special Economic Zone. Tanzanian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Sheikh Wijad, said the Tanzanian government is expected to roll out such models on a large scale and woo more foreign investors, including those from Vietnam. The Benjamin Special Economic Zone houses many important industrial facilities to Tanzania, including plants for manufacturing SIM cards for Viettel's Halotel mobile network. President Sang also joined Tanzanian Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa at the second Tanzania-Vietnam Business Forum. The Tanzanian leader said his country could serve as a gateway to help Vietnamese businesses make inroads into the 300 million strong market in East Africa. As one of the most attractive investment destinations in Africa, Tanzania drew a $700 million investment project from the Vietnamese military-run telecom Viettel. President Sang said Vietnam's development policy encourages cooperation with Tanzania and other African countries. Vietnam has strength in agriculture and is willing to help Tanzania implement the National Food Security Program, he said, adding that Vietnam is importing cashew nut and cotton from Tanzania and is eyeing other strategic products of the African country. He confirmed that Vietnam will create all possible conditions for Tanzanian businesses to seek investment opportunities in the Southeast Asian country.
The Vietnamese Navy High Command on March 10 conducted a flag-hoisting ceremony for the first sailing ship of the country's Navy at the Vietnam Naval Academy in Nha Trang City of the Central Coastal Province of Khánh Hòa.
The sailing ship, named after this outstanding Vietnamese scholar Le Quỳ Đôn from the 18th century, was built at the Marine Project shipyard in Poland and launched in June 2015. It was part of the scientific technological cooperation plan between the armies of Vietnam and Poland. At 67 meters long and 10 meters wide, the ship weighs 857 metric tons and has 3 40-meter high masts. The ship arrived in Vietnam after an 18,000 nautical mile voyage, with a mixed Polish and Vietnamese crew on board, crossing the Baltic Sea, Atlantic Ocean, and Pacific Ocean. It will be used for training and international exchanges.
Tourists to the Mekong Delta province of Trà Vinh usually come to Ba Om Pond as one of their first stops. Ba Om Pond is formerly well known for its freshness and tranquility. However, the following report doesn't talk about its beauty, but discusses how barren it has become. Let's take a look. It's hard to believe this place, just months ago, was an attractive tourist destination in Trà Vinh province. The pond, full of water and shadowed beneath canopies of big trees, was always a unique and familiar image to local residents. However, recent prolonged drought has caused this weird phenomenon.
Tôi rất là ngạc nhiên khi thấy tình trạng khô nước như vậy.
I'm very surprised at the pond drying up. I've never seen this before. The scenery here was so beautiful, with plenty of flowers and cool tranquil waters. Now it is so devastated by prolonged drought.
People now could even take a meal right on the bottom of the pond, while children could ride a bike around the pond basin as it is completely dry.
Mong muốn ở địa phương đây thì có cái sự quan tâm hơn, có cái kế hoạch gì đó để mà cái ao bờ ôm này có thể là cho nước vô đầy, xong rồi cất lên cái cảnh gì hôm trước mình có đưa lên đó.
Ba Om Pond of Trà Vinh province is only one of the places affected by drought, which has been causing damage to the whole Mekong Delta, the country's largest rice producer. As many as 140,000 hectares of rice in the region have been damaged by drought and saltwater intrusion from the sea so far, with nearly 90,000 hectares of those fields experiencing a 70% loss of crops. In Trà Vinh, more than 13,000 farming households have suffered from a loss of nearly 5 billion Vietnam dong, about $225,000 due to prolonged drought and seawater intruding inland upriver system. It is predicted that drought and saline intrusion will peak in March but will last until June. From April 15, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will officially begin examining the quality of Vietnamese char and basa fish imported into its country. The information has been released by the National Agroforestry Fisheries Quality Assurance Department of Vietnam.
On March 1st, the Food Safety and Inspection Service under the U.S. Department of Agriculture released a list of foreign businesses authorized to export fish and siluriform fish into the U.S., including 23 Vietnamese enterprises. The Vietnamese department asked the domestic businesses to actively check the quality and food hygiene of their products in order to ensure that they meet the U.S. market's requirements, particularly on antibiotic chemicals, heavy metal, pesticides, labels and origins, among others. The targeted businesses are also suggested to contact the department if they have any further inquiries.
The Japanese government will provide more than $530,000 in non-refundable aid to help southern localities develop transport, education and healthcare infrastructure. The Japanese Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City and representatives from the beneficiary localities signed documents on the aid in the city on March 9th. The sum will be used to fund the construction of 8 rural bridges in Kiên Giang and Đồng Nai provinces, 5 classrooms in Cu Quyen district of Đắk Lắk province, and the provision of medical facilities and equipment for Ninh Thuận, Bình Thuận, and Tây Ninh provinces. From 1995 to 2015, the Japanese government provided aid worth nearly $12.6 million for 158 projects in 26 southern provinces and cities. Ford Vietnam sold 1,524 units in February, a year-on-year increase of 65%, marking the best sales month ever recorded. More in the following.
The figure brought the total cars sold in the January-February period to 4,109 units, an increase of 68%. The record sale was driven by continued strong demand on its 3 product lines, Ranger, Transit and EcoSport. Sales of Ford Ranger have continued to lead up the pickup truck segment for the 12th consecutive month, with more than 660 units sold in February, up 247% against the same period last year. Ford Transit also remains the lead in the commercial vehicle segment, with the sale of 577 units, up 110% year-on-year. The EcoSport compact SUV was one of the trademark's leading vehicles, with 222 units sold in February, up 2%.
The first ever International Food Festival will be organized in the ancient city of Hội An from March 14 to 20th. More details in the following report. The organizers said that the festival will see the participation of chefs from 12 countries in the world, together with 12 local peers. The chefs are free to choose restaurants in the cities to show off their culinary skills during the course of the festival. The chosen restaurants will be redecorated to make them suitable for cultures of each country. 2 specialties of Hội An, namely mì Quảng, Quảng-style noodle, and Cao Lầu, a Hội An noodle recipe, will also be introduced on this occasion. The event is expected to help local chefs learn from the world experts, as well as promoting the image of Hội An to international friends. And we have come to the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you soon.